come to order. We do have a minimum here. In fact, we're lucky to have everybody here tonight, thank goodness. All right, now, I move that the board convene into open session. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Vote?
Aye.
Aye. Do I hear a motion to certify?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Whereas the Northumberland County School Board convened in a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 223712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Ms. Christopher,
I certify.
Ms. Obeer,
I certify.
Dr. Davis,
I certify.
Dr. Curran,
I certify.
Ms. Mazik.
I certify.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in the moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Right, Madam Chair, I'd like to read the closed session action items. I move to approve the MOM for Northumberland County Public Schools and Middle Peninsula Northern Neck Behavioral Health.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye.
I move to approve the supplement for Blair Wangard to take on an extra Math 7 class. We would be purchasing her planning period in lieu of hiring a long-term sub at a savings to the county.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye.
Aye. I move to approve the supplement for Michelle Jennings to take an extra English 8 class. We would be purchasing her planning period in lieu of replacement of a full-time teaching position at a savings to the county.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye. I move to approve the marching band stipend request for Justice Schaefer.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye. I move to approve Ann Leary as the NMS Finance Secretary as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments?
Yes, I got a comment.
Okay,
I know that there's a spending freeze from the finance director. However, we feel like this position is a finance position and it will betterment not only the finance director and the team, but also the middle school. And we feel that it's imperative that the finance director consider this board's wishes.
okay, vote?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve the coaching positions as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye. I move to approve the substitute list as presented pending background checks.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye. I move to accept the resignation of Mr. Frank Johnson as NMS 8th grade English teacher.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye. That's all the action items from closed session.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote? All right. Presentations. Ms. Leslie?
Approve the minutes.
Yeah, oh, excuse me, miss a minute, I did, excuse me. All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes for October 6th, 2025?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote? Aye.
Aye.
All right, now we have presentations, excuse me.
Ms. Lipton, did you want to make the presentations or would you like me to do it?
I can. I have the honor tonight to share with you school board recognition. The certificates and pins are in front of our members tonight on the table. We would start with Ms. Christopher, our board chair. She is receiving the Certificate of Excellence and also receiving a silver pin. Let's give her a round of applause. Ms. Davis, our board member, is receiving a Certificate of Distinction, and she's also receiving a Starfish pin for her service time. Let's give her a round of applause. Dr. Curran, board member, receiving a Certificate of Recognition. Let's give him a round of applause. And then lastly, Ms. Mazik, our board member, is also receiving a Certificate of Recognition. We want to give her a round of applause. And thank you to these school board members on your awards for your service time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next, we have financial reports, check register and ACH approval needed.
Okay, good evening. There we go. So we actually don't need any approval, but we are here to give you an update and answer any questions. So you will see in your packet and for public consumption, there is a check register and an ACH register that goes for October. Both of those documents are there. You're going to see a lot of ruined checks. One of the things that we learned was that the system was programmed so that you could only have one invoice line on the top of the check, and then it would roll to the next check and void the bottom one. We've since reprogrammed that, so we don't have to have all those voided checks and go through that cost all the time. So we've taken care of that. The revenue to date, we're still at 14.6, or 12.8, which is lower than last year. Our expenses to date, 5.4. We pushed out another, in addition to the check register and the ACH payments that you have, on November 6th, we made another $143,000 in payments. So the backlog is coming down. There's less than an inch of invoices, old invoices. And we are actually in a position right now that the school is starting to be able to pay current invoices. So that is not bad for 6 weeks worth of work. We still do have some outstanding invoices that are a little bit more complicated because we have to look back to make sure that we didn't have double payments. We have to look back. In some cases, we're moving money all over the place. There's lots of journal entries. There's one bill that we have to pay now that I have to pull money from 5 different accounts. So we're in a position of having to do that. Plus, we're going to go to the Board of Supervisors again on Thursday to request some advance appropriation. It's essentially going to wipe out a couple of the accounts that we have for the rest of the year until we start getting some additional reimbursements in. So we continue to address the vendor payments and backlogs. We only had one threatened notice for cutoff, so that's good news. We were able to get that taken care of. We're starting to work on the revenue now. So we're going to meet with the county treasurer. We're actually starting, we're going to deposit some checks and we're starting to look at the assignment of the revenue that's come into the county and where to assign that for the school. So that process has started. John Cost is working with us. He's identifying based on the forensic audit that was done a few years ago. We're looking for assessment criteria so that we can have a scorecard against which we can evaluate the financial progress that we're making at the school on that particular process. The risks, thank you. The risks that I've identified, the cleanup that we're doing in the expense assignments may result in continued slowdown for some of the purchase orders, and it may result in zero spending for the rest of the year in certain accounts. We cannot overspend in any of the accounts at the line item level, even though legally you only have to, do it at the category. We don't know if the rest of the category can afford what's in there. So we've stopped. The spending slowdown is still in effect. I appreciate the board's decision with respect to a hiring decision. We're going to have to do a status of funds and look. Today I was running a report for something else and I found out that there's somebody getting paid out of an account that needs to change. Last year, the person's pay was moved to one account because it was drawn a negative in another account. It's never been corrected and we're a couple months into the year. So we got to get that corrected. And then the delay in analyzing and assigning revenue, I'm concerned that will have a significant impact on our state report. The state report that was due September 15th that we got an extension for October 6th has still not been started. We can't start it until we get journal entries done for the revenue. We've got revenue that was booked for December of 2025. We are in November of 2025. It's impossible to have revenue that's booked in December. So I think there was some kind of system glitch or something happened. So we got to make all those journal entries. And we also have to get the rest of these expenses in. We're still trying to make sure that all gets adjusted. So key observations, I think that the staff is getting frustrated, even more so. So I think for a while, there was basically a stop work at the school from the past couple months. And now I think that the staff sees that there are 3 people from the county that are in that office and they're saying, how come this isn't fixed yet? We're working the best that we can. This won't be fixed for a little bit longer. When you have to spend 35, 45, 50 minutes for every invoice or every purchase order, just to make sure it's not double paid or make sure it's coming out of the right account. I've been working on one payment now for 2 days because I have to juggle the money in the accounts to make sure that we don't go over and we're not spending it out of inappropriate accounts. So we've got a finance meeting. Dr. Kern will go, this is Dr. Kern, we'll go through the processes that we're making some changes on and to try to improve some things. And we're going to meet with the finance team of the schools on Wednesday to make sure that we can understand what we're doing at the county level that is hindering their work. So for example, the Visa bill, the Visa card got shut off because the bill hadn't been paid. So it's not as simple as when I'm at home and I just can punch a Visa payment or American Express card payment over. You have to review each account and you have to make sure that you can account for each expense. There were some instances where we didn't have a record log that the Visa card had been checked out. So we have to find out who those vendors were and what those payments were for. So we're not paying anything until we know that it's a legitimate expense and we're going to pay it. So I totally appreciate that we have created probably some frustration at the different levels. We've started work on the budget. So either sometime this week, there will be a survey that is made available to the public for input. I have also put up in this month's agenda, a calendar. So we have a calendar against which we're working for the budget for the remainder of the year. The timeline. Yeah, there we go. The timeline. Thank you. So you'll see in there all the different dates and times. So the work did start November 1st on the line by line analysis of all school accounts. And our intent with all this work is to make it public. We're going to create a section on the school website that will include every single one of those pieces. So as we do the line by line account analysis of the past 3 years, every single expenditure that was made out of every single one of those accounts is going to be available for the public to see. We need to get the transparency back and we need to make sure we're reinstilling trust. We are going to meet with the directors and the leaders. We're starting this week with the superintendent and the assistant superintendent to go over the administration budget. So that will be available for them. And we're just going to keep plugging through it until we get to everybody. So I don't know if you want to if there's any questions for me now, or if you want to go and take questions at the end. Any questions for anything that we shared so far?
Don't go away. Go ahead, Ann.
Thank you, Dr. Bika. So it's nice to see you all again. I'm Dr. Curran, Mrs. Dr. Curran, and I started as finance director October 14th, and we hired 2 additional people to help in the finance department. One is Demetrius Samuel. Demetrius comes from Essex County Schools and has years of experience with RDA and has been an absolute treasure to our group. And the second person is Rachel Swan. Rachel comes to us also from around the Essex area, but she was a corporate person rather than a school or a county person. But she has tremendous experience in payroll and is picking up speed with RDA as well. In addition, I want to thank Mrs. Shannon O'Beer, who has been helping out training the new payroll person, as well as getting our payroll run and our withholding documents in the right order. There are a couple things that we need to follow up on that I'm focusing on with the team for the next couple of weeks. One is with the HR director. The I-9s are not in the right order and they're not being stored properly. So we're making correction to that. We're also chasing down W-9s for our vendor community to make sure we've got those updated. And finally, one of the big tasks that I'm making is creating a finance calendar that's going to be transparent to all citizens and both boards so that we all know when finance has things to do. And I think that's important to be open and transparent with all of the people in the community to bring everybody closer together. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, you don't get away that easy. So hopefully you'll take into consideration this board's desire to get you help at the middle school. I will comment that at the Board of Supervisors meeting, I made a pledge to the Board of Supervisors that I would do a proposal. I've subsequently done that proposal. I want to make sure both of you have gotten it. In addition to that, I also put a plan together because I think it's really important that we attack our problem at multiple levels. So the question is, did you receive that proposal? I'm not going to ask you if you read it. I just want to know that you got it.
I did receive it and I did read it and I'm considering additional options to add to it. I thought it was a very good skeleton for what we need to do, but there's a lot that you need to consider when you're looking at new vendors for new software. And so I want to make sure that I coach everyone on what I've seen, being someone who's been out in the trenches with vendors. On the second note, the personnel action that you guys have recommended that we take under consideration, we will address that, but we need to look at our financial statement and see where we are. I don't see something happening until late December, early January. But just to let you know, we have taken on the role of the middle school finance person. Demetris and I both go into the middle school once a week so far to help getting the finances straightened out. And I'm sure that Ms. Lipton will let us know if we need to come more often. But we're trying to get the finances straight at the middle school and support the middle school team. Any other questions?
I have not, I got your email, but I have not read it yet,
Okay.
so I will admit that I haven't gotten it yet.
I'm cutting you out.
Thank you both
so much.
Since this is an action item, excuse me, were you speaking?
I just said thank you both so much for all the work you've done. We appreciate it.
Since this is an action item, I make a motion that we approve the monthly check register and ACH October 2025 check register. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the revenue and expenditure report. Have you covered that in your
I
report?
did.
That's what I thought. So there's no action needed on that, correct? Okay.
Do I need to go through the donations or Shelley, do you do that?
Say it again.
The donations, right? Should I go through those or do you go through those?
I think she'll call it up.
Oh, okay.
I do like that Word document that you guys send out, especially with the potential problems and the effect that it has. It gives us a very good understanding of the environment that you guys are working in and the problems that you're dealing with. So I think that's really important for this board to know. So I would hope that those keep coming.
Anything else under action?
We just have to approve the donations as presented.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
All right, so Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the donations as presented. It's Tavern Spinners and Weavers Guild. And that goes towards the NMS Art Supplies, $400. The Calio Moose Lodge, they donated the softball scoreboard, that was worth $1,000. And then the Rappahannock Concert Association to the NHS NMS Band, and that donation was $500.
You'll hear a motion that we accept these
So
donations.
moved.
Enough, so moved. Comments, vote?
That's
Okay,
all I have.
thank, all right, now, we haven't had it, Superintendent, you have more, don't you?
Sure. So good evening, everyone. I just had a couple of brief updates that I wanted to make for the superintendent's report. And then, of course, all the directors' reports are posted and many of the directors are here. But really briefly, wanted to review in the realm of instruction to just keep in mind that there is a school break coming up Monday, November 24th through Friday, November 28th. So just keep in mind that school will be out those days. Also, the last time that we spoke about a month ago, we had a discussion about Virginia Department of Education, who had voted on some new cut scores for our standard of learning exams that will impact our students in the next few years. The big question, of course, is still when will that actually roll out? At that time of the last meeting, they had a meeting planned for October 23rd to vote on some rollout dates and what that might look like. However, that reading has been rescheduled and we are not 100% sure when that second vote will take place. So I just wanted to make sure to follow up that those cut scores are going to be in motion, but the question is when and how they will affect us. And we'll keep you updated as Virginia Department of Education updates us. Wanted to quickly go over to transportation and just review that we had requested from the Board of Supervisors to release some funds from a capital improvement where they had been tagged in order to put a new engine into one of our buses. They did approve that. And so we just wanted to say thank you. So we are able to get a new engine into one of our buses, and that will help to extend our fleet and the safety for our students. In the grants area, Miss Ashton and I have spent some time playing detective. And so though we don't work in finance, we've done some digging up of some grant funds that were not reimbursed. And over the last 2 months, we were able to work with staff to get 2 reimbursements in, which were not for title grants, but which were for a school safety grant and an HVAC grant from back as far as 2021. They did extend multiple years, so it wasn't just that year. But we did get those reimbursement requests in for just about $94,000 between the two. So as long as those are approved by VDOE, those requests are approved, that money would go back to Northumberland County Board of Supervisors for money that was paid out. So that was some good news that we got from some back work. And as an aside, there are some other outstanding title grants that we are overseeing with the grants manager to get submitted. The last thing I have to say for this evening, just to keep everyone informed, is there are deadlines for capital improvement plans to the county. That's on November 14th. And at the school division, I've been working in 3 key areas to develop 5-year plans for the next 5 years for overall capital improvements. One of those includes a bus replacement schedule that would look to start replacing our fleet, which is aging out over the next 5 years. Have a separate CIP request to look into a phased approach for Northumberland Elementary School playground, where we would try to build that playground in several phases rather than all at once in order to be able to do it more quickly and a little bit more efficiently money-wise. That's not a very good sentence, but that's how I'm going to say it. And then the third plan would really be looking at developing a reserve fund for the well. As many of you know, we had to abandon a well this year. Our well replacement is on a 9-year cycle. This year we had 2, which hopefully will allow us to use one of the pre-existing wells and shut down the other. But in 9 years, we will not be so lucky. And so we will have to look at developing a well. That's a very large expense for a county, specifically a county of our size. So we need to start planning for that well now. And we have done that through developing a proposal for capital improvements. That is what I had from my neck of the woods. But of course, we have our principals here who are all shaking their heads no at me, but of course, we're all open for questions on any of our reports. All of the reports are posted today. No one wants to talk.
Okay.
All right, would you like to address the action items that we have not addressed already? There was, facility use and,
So it appears that I have a facility use request. Just one. For Etudes Ballet School for the auditorium and band room at NHS, December 13th and 14th. Looks like from 9 to 5 one day and 12 to 5 the other.
I make a motion to approve the facility use request as presented.
do I hear a second? Second. Comments? Vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And the second here, unfortunately, Ms. Hamlet is not available, but this is a request to make a rather large purchase, after some shopping around for a freezer condenser at the middle high school kitchen, and you can see the attached amounts there.
Do I hear a motion that we accept this proposal?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal from the school nutrition director for the new equipment purchase. The school nutrition funds will be used to cover those costs.
And you want to give the number? 11,000 something.
It's two separate pieces, correct?
Okay, yeah.
Is that
It
correct?
looks like the 11,822.95
Okay,
is the one they would want to go with.
they would go with that one.
Yeah.
11,000, so the cost for the new equipment is $11,822.95. And school nutrition funds will be used to cover those costs.
Okay. Next, we have.
Do I hear a
Need
second?
second. Pardon?
Second.
Second,
Yeah. All right, do I have you made the motion?
yes, I
Somebody
did.
Anna made it. It's been second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Comments? Vote?
Aye.
Okay, so we've finished the action items. All right, open public comments. And of course, that's 3 minutes each. First is in-person public comment. Do we have anyone for in-person? Okay. You come forward, please.
I would like to remind the public speakers that you have 3 minutes for your public comment. Thank you.
Good evening.
Could
It
you
has
speak a little
become,
louder, please.
I'm sorry.
Could you speak a little louder?
It has become undeniable that there is a hole in the safety procedures for NES. It is my belief that safety should be #1 priority in education. If our students are not safe, they cannot learn. Last week, my 4th grade daughter had an encounter on the school bus where she was bullied, harassed, and made a victim of social media bullying that put a political target on her back by a girl 5 years older than her. The student who committed these acts has shown a lack of remorse and has continued to harass my child since. The administration has not, in my opinion, taken reasonable precautions to prevent further issues. Instead, my daughter has been separated from her friends on the bus in a failed attempt at separating her from the bully. This highlights a significant weakness in school policy for this county. I believe that it is the school board's responsibility to implement programs and strategies to properly address this weakness. I am proposing implementing a requirement for high school students to complete a minimum of 200 hours in community service in order to be eligible for graduation. I believe that this can only benefit our students and community by enriching our lives and their lives and surroundings through a method of self-responsibility and community involvement. Additionally, another valuable addition to prospective college applications. This program will require little to no budget, being that it was once required and the parameters have already been determined. Furthermore, many of the oversight could in fact be managed by students in a way for them to fulfill their own required hours. I am sure that many parents in this room remember the same requirement from when they went to school and how such tasks have a great impact on the student's ability to contribute and build their resume for future jobs. The second part of this plan involves allowing select students to fulfill such community service requirements by filling the empty role of supervision on school buses. Volunteers should be vetted by school staff to be responsible and unbiased. By placing a student with such authority to report issues before they escalate and step in when others act out, we can create an environment where children feel safe in knowing that bad behavior will be addressed and that someone is there to help when needed. I believe this plan will lighten the load that administrator staff bear in managing such issues and create an environment where children can learn to communicate through their differences in a unified way. I am hoping that the time saved could instead
Time
be
is
used
up.
to manage
Thank
their
you.
program.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay, anyone else? Public comment in person.
No others signed up.
All right, online.
If there's anyone at home who would like to speak that is on a cell phone, please press *9 to raise your hand and then *6 when you are called upon. If you are at home on a computer, please click the reaction button and then raise your hand. So far, no one at home has chosen. We have one. Give me 1 second.
Thank you. No one there. All right, board member comments.
1 second, Ms. Christopher. Ms. Jamaica Campbell has raised her hand to speak from home.
Yeah.
And now I would ask you to unmute.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I echo the safety at Northumberland Elementary School. There are multiple special education children who are not receiving the proper care that they need. They do not have a special education teacher, and they now have paras who are acting in a substitute teacher role. While I understand that that is allowed per state law, it is not conducive or equitable to their learning styles, with them being autistic or having ADHD or any other special needs term that is attached to them via their IEP. I want to know, what is the school doing to implement new safety issues for children within the classroom amongst themselves, because there's too many kids in the classroom. There's too much combative behavior amongst the students. And what are they doing to implement a safe environment and hiring teachers who are adequately trained in special needs? It is my belief that until this happens, that the students are not going to be able to come to school without exhibiting signs of PTSD. And what is the principal doing in response when parents are seeking meetings and they're too busy to follow up after 2 weeks?
Yes, this is Ms. Jamaica Campbell. Yes, this is Ms. Campbell.
Jamaica Campbell.
What?
Jamaica Campbell.
Jamaica Campbell.
If there's anyone else at home who would like to speak, please raise your hand. So far, no one else has chosen to raise their hands at this time.
Okay, now we'll go on to board review documents. Does anyone have from board review member documents of governor's school or tech center or any of those?
Meetings this week.
Makes this week, okay, well, you don't have anything quite yet. All right,
I don't
and
have-
that's it? Anything else?
So, adjournment.
Okay,
Actually, I do
Oh,
have a
sorry.
comment.
okay,
Not germane to what was just said, but one thing I'd like to compliment is our robocalls. That's been a nice to tell you. Change in addition to getting the information out on a quickly, fairly quick basis and out to everybody. So, I wanted to make that comment. The other thing, and this is just to piggyback on our vote tonight for the middle school position in finances. I really didn't think the whole process was done correctly back when the MOU was actually signed. And I felt like we put a couple of employees at risk with a 90-day probation, and they would not necessarily, they applied to be finance people here in the school district, and to move them to a county position, I didn't agree with. So that was back when we did all of that. And then to put our leadership team, an interview team together, and didn't necessarily look out. I didn't think that we looked out for our current employees. But, that's all beside the point. I did not want to, my vote was yes, as you heard, for the finance person. And my heart said one thing, but my head said another. And my head said, we put them through a process of going through an interview, and then we wanted, I wanted to negate that whole process because I still had my feelings hurt from the MOU. However, my head said, don't punish everybody for a decision. If we put them through a process, then yes. I, again, would like to apologize to the two young ladies who had the current positions that I didn't feel like we showed our loyalty to them, but I was not in a position, my head was not in a position to punish everybody for something that we had signed off on. So I just wanted to make that public, that I didn't want to throw out the baby and the bathwater because I felt one way. So that it's just my position. And again, I am proud of this school district. I am proud of the work that the staff does. And that's it.
Madam Chair, I got a comment specifically for the caller and you, ma'am. I didn't catch your last name other than it started with an E. That's what I heard. I don't hear very well. So quite often we have these board meetings and nobody gets up here and expresses their thoughts and desires. I will compliment you, ma'am. You had a well thought out presentation. It didn't fall on deaf ears. I would ask that if you have particular questions of the board or of the superintendent, to go ahead and forward those questions to the superintendent, and we will prepare a response to your questions and your thoughts. I think all the public deserves, if you come up here and you have the courage to come up here, you deserve a response from the board. It's only fair for us to be able to research the matter and give you the correct answer. I can do it off the top of my head, but I don't know if it would be 100% correct. So always know that avenue, and I want everybody in the public that's listening to know that avenue can be used and should be used. And a lot of times there's a lot of misinformation out there, and our initial reactions are to respond emotionally. And the only thing worse than being wrong is being wrong because you listen to misinformation. So thank you for coming up here. I appreciate your professionalism and the way you conducted yourself. Same with the caller online. But please, if you want a response, get those questions to the superintendent And we'll do our due diligence to make sure that the public's questions are answered.
Any other board member comments? All right, I'll make a motion that we adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Vote?
Aye.
Okay, thank you for coming.